Hi, and welcome to Triangulation Development Pattern number 2. We did this one in class. It's the one with the 2x4 rectangle with a 2-inch across corner square offset into a diamond form. So first things first, we will start by putting the basic shape up on screen. So hit the rectangle command, F9, and start the pattern off by doing Shift 2, giving you the @ sign, 4, comma 2, and enter. Zoom into this lower corner, come up to the polyline, and the start of the diamond shape is in the center, one click in. So we just left click at that point and then go 2 across and 2 up to that point, 2 down and 2 right to that point, 2 back to the left and down for the last point, and we'll just close that one off right there. Now we need to put the fold lines on, so I'm just using a polyline to put those ones in position, and that is the plan view now done. So the second part is to put the front view on, so I'm just going to hit a polyline again. Coming from this corner, I'm just going to come down an appropriate distance. Left click. Now we're going to go up to this point here. So I'm just going to come down. You can see that this is 1, 2, 3 up, and it's one step in. So that's the top of that point. We've got this other side of the diamond shape. I'm just going to click there, and then the last point is off this corner down to the same as the first point, or the same height as the first point, and then just close the thing off. What we do have, however, are 2 fold lines on the front view. These will go from the corner to this point here, which is right there, and then back down to the other corner. Now, initially you look at this thing, and when we had the square to square, square to rectangle, which were the first 2 exercises, we really only had 2 little fold lines down the corner, down each of the corners, or on each of the sides anyway. This particular one, if you can imagine our cut line going down through here, we'd actually have this initial front face, which is flat when you look at it on there. So this being flat, we can actually develop that straight over the start of our pattern. Then we have this angular side, then half of this one. So we're actually going to have 2 developments up each side of the triangle to give you the half pattern. But before we start, as always, we put our true length grid on. So we come to the baseline and pull that one out. I'm going to draw a second one from the true height line, which is right at the top of the object, and pull that one out. And last but not least, I'm going to put a start point on there, which is going to give me a direct correlation between the base point and the true high point, and these are the 2 points where I place all the circles. Okay, so I think before we start, I'm going to stick a different type of line on there just to show the cut line, but it's easy just to attach to it rather than typing mid in all the time. So I'm going to go up to the line command, and you can see I just have plain straight lines there. I could use one of those, but it can get a bit confusing. So I'm going to choose other. I'm going to go to load, and then I'm going to come down to one of the center lines. I'll just choose the first one and OK that. You see that it adds it to the group of lines that I can use. So I'm going to OK that. Now go up to the line command, and you can see I've got center line, so I'm going to select it. Just put a polyline on, start just to the left of the pattern, and drag that thing through to the other side, and that will show our cut lines. Now, as I said, if you look on the top of this pattern, you can look straight down this edge here, and you can see the triangle that it forms sitting right there. Okay, so this is one complete edge, and I did put this on as a complete polyline so I could copy this over to there and just draw the base back in. So I'm going to do that. I'm going over to the copy command. I'm grabbing the first part of my pattern. Doesn't really matter where you pick it up by, but I just want to make the bottom like level with this one, so I'm just going to put it there and enter to clear the copy. Now I will need to put the base back on, and that's it there. And as you can see, if you're not careful, you could end up choosing the wrong line type because it's still set up there to center line. I'll use it anyway because just like the color command, if you click on the line and then right click and go down to properties, you'll see a line type up here just below where it says layer. So if you click on that, you then get the downward arrow and you can click it back onto continuous and everything will be like it should be. Go back up to the X and close it down. But before we do any other lines, turn this line back to continuous and you'll be good. Just hit escape to get the grips off and we're good to go. Okay, so we have this one here, and what we're looking at is developing this triangle here. Now this top point is the top of this triangle, and the top of the triangle is there. So we need to develop this pattern out from the top, and that is one that we can measure. Remember, this is flat to our view plane, so we can just put a white circle on there and measure that one. This one, however, slopes down. Okay, so this one is the one you're looking at there, and it actually slopes down. So we can use this point, and we'll have to use the one from the bottom to triangulate upwards by developing it. So let's put the first one on. Place the bottom point there, and the upper point the full length of that edge. Now it's off of this top point, so it's off of the top of the triangle. So copy that circle from its midpoint to the top of the triangle. Having got that one on there now, we need to develop this one up because this one is a slopey edge. Okay, so we're going to change colors. Pick a yellow, and from that point there we're going to start our circle and draw that out up to the point at which you hit the midline. Then we can take our copy command, grab our big yellow circle there and drop it straight down onto the base point. And hopefully you'll be getting the hang of this by now. We now put our line on from the true height. Have to put the F9 key off to the point at which the circle intersects the baseline. That's our true length line. So I'm just now going to put a circle, a big circle, the developed one, out to that point. And as we've already got that one point on, we need to pick this circle up by its center point and place it on the bottom right hand side of that triangle. So copy, large circle from its center point to that point there. Now because these are all in triangular sections and they're not parallelograms like they were in the first example, we could go back, hit by a layer to get the white layer back up, and draw a line from the top of the triangle to that point down to the bottom of the triangle again. Okay, that's our first one. Now there's only a few colors on there, so I'm actually going to do the second development directly on top of this one because I don't think they will actually interfere. So I'm going to grab myself the next color down, which is green, um, get a circle. I then look at projecting this point here. Now this one is going to be a white one because it is flat to the view. However, now that we've developed this point, we need to develop one across here to get the opposing triangle, right? So the opposing point to complete the triangle. We have two known points which are on there right now. We need to develop the third. So I'm going to go up to this edge and pull that circle across that length. Again, from this point. So we're using the point we've just developed, and then we're going to combine it with the one that is flat to view that we could just put the white circle on after we put this one on. So now I need to copy that circle from its midpoint, the center, down to a base point. Get a polyline from that top true height down to the green where it intersects the baseline, and now draw our circle from the top of that line and extend it down right the way down the true length line. Now we can copy the green from the center point to this point here. Why that point? Because that is that piece that we put on just now. This is the development of it, and that's where the center of the circle comes from. We're measuring down this edge. Now looking at the colors, I'm going to turn it back to white. I'm just going to get a normal circle because, as I said, this is flat to view, so we can draw a circle from that corner to that point there which shows the cut line. Then we can copy this white circle from its midpoint, from the center to that point there. And whilst we got the white on, we're going to go from this point now to these points of intersection and back to the base. So that's it. Even though it looks more complex, it's got more sides, the actual development of it is pretty simple. Mainly because you're working with triangles directly with triangles, and you don't have to cross point twice. A square would need two lots of triangulation, a straight triangle needs one. So this is actually going to be a lot simpler than the other two exercises, even though it looks more complex. So just like the other exercises, I'm going to turn on my layers. So I need to add a layer, so I go to this left hand option here, new layer. New layer 1 is fine by me. I'm just going up to this top and I'm going to close it down now that I've created the layer. So now I'm going to select each of the circles in turn and their developmental lines. So I need these two true length lines. I need all of the circles up here. And then I right click, properties, to layer, and put them all on layer 1 and close that down. Open up my layer panel, go down to the light bulb on layer 1, left click the screen, and you'll see that everything disappears with the exception of the pattern that we've now developed. Okay, I'll leave that. It's nearly 15 minutes on this one, so I'll leave that for the first part of the video, and I'll see you in part 2.